Dobar dan.
Yeah, dobar dan.
Dobar dan. That's my Serbian.
And mine.
So, good morning. It's a great pleasure to be here. And obviously, I'm Sarah. I'm based in Italy, but I work for Cambridge Assessment English in Europe, including Serbia.
And I'm Kolin Vilijams. I'm from Cambridge in the UK.
And so, in this very short session, we're going to focus very briefly on writing and the important skill of learning to write when you're young. So what we want to do is look at some of the reasons for teaching writing when students are young, not just for English, but also for other languages. And we will look briefly at some ideas for teaching writing and also for assessing writing and the importance of making sure that its assessment is positive where possible. So
next we need to say, why should we encourage young learners to write in English? So of course, first of all, when students learn a language, listening and reading are the receptive skills which they learn. But then they want to speak and to write in order to communicate, and language is nothing without communication. Of course, there are problems when young children want to learn to write and to start writing. First of all, there's embarrassment. They feel embarrassed about writing when they know they may make mistakes, when there's grammatical errors, and they don't want to show that they don't know something fully. Also, writing in the classroom is often not so much used as grammar, reading and listening because there's no right answer to writing. So writing's often used as a homework exercise, so there's less support for the students in class. And of course, spelling in English or spelling in two alphabets is not so easy, as we will see. Sarah, what does that say?
okay, I'll try. Pectopath?
I'm not sure that's right. Could you tell Sarah what the answer is?
Aha! That sounds like restaurant.
So sometimes when you hear it, it becomes clear. But sometimes it's not so easy. Sarah, what do... Oh, I've gone backwards. Sarah, what does that say?
Now this one's really difficult for me. I can only read Napa and then I don't know what to say because I don't recognize the letter.
Could you tell Sarah what this says? Pardon? Paradise.
Paradise?
Maybe this? Or maybe this? Okay,
which one?
The tomato, I think.
Okay.
Okay, and obviously it becomes especially tricky when you use a language like English, which is famously non-phonetic. So, for example, Sarah.
Rough.
Thorough.
Plow.
Dough.
Bought.
Through.
Cough.
As you can see, the OUGH is not very easy to learn.
And also very difficult as an English child to learn how to spell it. Not only for non-native students, but also for native students.
I have 3 children and they still find OUGH very difficult.
So we come back to the question, why should we encourage young learners to write in English? And as I said, also in other languages. We've got different reasons, and I think one of the most important is that writing is a good way to help consolidate perhaps what they're listening to, what they're reading, and actually to physically write the word enables you also to use your kinesthetic sense. So you're much better at internalizing a word, and it gives you an opportunity to repeat and do this, and so you've got another opportunity to learn a word. It also helps the spelling, of course, and that is a real challenge for all students. And of course, writing is used to practice grammar and vocabulary. It's a very easy way to get students to do that practice. You know, okay, let's do a written exercise. Of course, children are writing less because of computers. So that's another reason why it's important to get them to write, is actually to make sure that they have the writing skill.
Also, writing's a good introduction to the predictive skills that children need to have when they start learning a language. They will need writing at different points in their language journey, from functional language later in life to emails, writing invitations. Everything that they can do that they need to write, we need to start early in order to get them used to writing. It also develops creativity. When students have the freedom to write what they want or what they've learned, then they're able to speak and to use their imaginations through writing. And it helps them use meaningful, relevant language in authentic situations. They write for a purpose. And this again, it makes their knowledge of the language extend, get bigger, and they use what they've learned in the classroom and in other situations.
So let's think about actually writing and teaching writing. And one of the things about writing is to make it enjoyable and not to make it a negative experience. So the kind of support that we give students at, let's say, pre-A1, so here we have an example. You can see the picture. A good student might know the word already. Another student can see there are 4 letters, and so they can see that they need to write 4 letters. And on the right, we have the letters jumbled. So we provide some kind of scaffolding to help the student. And if you like, it's also a game-like activity, so it makes it more fun. Now, for those students who are less strong, then we can give them a bit more support. So maybe just the first letter, or maybe the first 2 letters, or even the first 3 letters, so that you're encouraging the student to be able to produce and be successful. And also, as I said, it's the idea of the game which also makes it motivating, particularly for young students who are approaching writing at this early stage.
When they move on to the next level, which is A1 for movers, then there's a differentiation between what students can write and what they can't write. So, for example, in this picture, we can see lots of different things that are happening. We need to make it visual so that the students know what they're writing about at these early levels. So, Sarah, the boy on the bike is wearing grey.
The boy on the bike is wearing grey trousers.
And one dog is brown and one dog is?
Black and white.
That's right. Okay, so at this very early stage, then the students can write one word, they can answer a question, they can write in the sentence. The importance is what they can do, not what they can't do. When they move on to a next level, then they can answer questions. So, Sarah, what's the girl in the black skirt doing?
She's carrying some drinks.
She is. And where are the flowers?
The flowers are on the right of the girl, and there are some flowers under the tree.
There are indeed. Okay, so what we use is fun, colourful images to maximise the students' engagement. Then there's the discrete questions to add variety, to provide fresh starts, so students have more opportunities to succeed. And for the last 2 questions, it becomes freer. So, for example, write 2 sentences about the picture. Sarah, can you give me a sentence about the picture?
There's a boy riding a bicycle.
Okay.
And there are 2 children on the trampoline.
Okay, so this scaffolded approach, again, it shows what students can do. They all feel involved from the very little to the much more. Okay.
So let's have a look at how we might mark it and give it an assessment. And I think this is where you can see, also for the teacher, looking at the kind of marking scheme that will help make sure that marking is positive. Here we have, in the first 2 questions, very simply, that it must be connected to the picture. There may be more than one possible answer, but the answer must be connected with the picture. But it's giving students a bit of freedom. There's not just right or wrong, one only answer, but it's referring to the picture. So there's a bit of creativity there.
Okay, in the next part there's 2 marks, and this is for an accurate representation of the picture. So again, it's the next level up. So again, it's marking what they can do, and when they use more language, they get more results. They get better marks. The scales are discrete, not holistic, so it's marking what the students know rather than some objective criteria. Then we move to the next section, which is flyers, and this is, again, the next level up, so it's an A2 level. Here, candidates' writing skills are assessed at discourse level, and the children can choose by following the pictures to make a simple plot in order to create a story. Okay, and it gives them scope, again, to expand on what they can do, and we're interested, again, what they can do, how much they can do, and how much they can produce. So, for example, on the new reading and writing task for flyers, there's 3 pictures, and the candidates have to write a story of 20 or more words.
I mean, it's still about scaffolding and making sure that there is some clear support for the child.
Okay, so they look at the pictures. A good way to introduce this as teachers is to think of the words related to the picture. Sarah, what can you tell me about what's in the picture here? Give me some words.
Spaceship.
Yeah.
And a planet.
Mm-hmm.
And an astronaut.
And some kind of monster in a hole. Okay.
And maybe an alien or something like that.
That's right. Okay, and then the next one?
This is with a sandwich and some orange juice.
It's clearly the spaceman is very hungry at this point. Okay, and the final point?
Now they're eating.
They are, yes. It's a wonderful story, as you can see. So you look at the pictures and again think of the words. So here we have some examples of the words that you may be able to elicit from your students in your classrooms.
And of course, the words are associated with the A2 level, and so the pictures are designed to make sure that the word level is correct.
That's right. You're testing what they know already and words that they've already come across in their books in the classroom. Okay. So again, this is the summary. You go through the pictures, you elicit some words, and then you can create your picture story. So again, this can be at different levels. So the first here, Again, it's a good answer for A2, but it's very factual. So the astronaut's on a planet, he meets an alien, they chat. The alien invites the astronaut to his home for a sandwich and some juice, as aliens often do. And the astronaut thanks the aliens. Okay, Sarah?
So there are some tips in terms of encouraging the students to go beyond that. So, of course, reminding them that they need a name, perhaps a place, and some information. Again, it's about that scaffolding and developing the next level.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so this time Frank has come to the planet Zero. He meets Wi-Fi, an alien, or Wi-Fi, I'm not sure. And Wi-Fi invites Frank to his home for a salad sandwich and some orange juice. And again, you can build on this. You can use words like, because, but. So introduce some linkers, some time references. And in the end, this would receive a much higher mark because now you have a structured piece of writing. Okay. So again, it just shows that what you can do in your classroom is reward students for what they do know and reward the best ones for adding extra points.
It also shows how a task can be used at different levels, and the output will be different depending on the support. So this one has added a question or a comment that a person would say. So of course it's a higher level.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So again, looking at the way we assess it, it's very important that that's clear for the teachers, obviously, to understand. And one very clear thing is to think about the communication. Why are we doing this writing? Ultimately, it's not just about learning grammar, it's helping students learn to communicate. And here we're communicating a story. So does this, does the answer give a story? Does it tell a story? Is the vocabulary relevant to the actual picture? So it's obviously not just any old story, it's related to the picture. And also thinking about the reader, even from this early stage, students need to think, is it easy for my reader to understand my story? So if you think, we're putting those first stepping stones to good writing skills.
Okay. And then when we move to the next level, which is also A2, but for slightly older students, we're using the similar kind of structure, but just a little bit higher level complexity to deal with the maturity that students have once they reach 11 or 12 and they start learning key. So again, there might be 3 pictures, a stimulus, you write the story based on the stimulus, and you create. But this time, there's less support for the students.
And a little bit more writing as well.
Of course.
Of course, we move from pictures, the students are getting older, to actually using text. But again, even with a text prompt like this, you can see that there are 3 prompts to help the student think about the way they're writing their answer. And the type of writing is an email in this example, again, looking at communicative writing for real contexts.
That's right, it must be relevant so that the students know that they're writing for a reason. We don't write for no reason in real life, so again, in the classroom, they should write for a purpose.
Okay, we're going to finish there, but to leave you with some tools which we hope you might find useful if you're teaching. And this one is called Write and Improve. It's free. It's a tool which uses auto-marking. It's been developed over the last 12 years through much research. And basically, you go on to Write and Improve. You choose a topic for your level. This is just an example. So from A2, really, up to C2, you can choose an example, and this one is actually for a higher level, for B1. You choose to write an essay, and then you send your answer to the computer, click, and it comes back with feedback. You can't see it very well on the screen, but it will tell you how many words you've written, what level on the CFR the writing is, and it will give you an indication of some of the errors that you have made so that you can edit it and do it again. Now, it doesn't correct everything because it's not a translation tool. It is about communicative writing and giving feedback on communicative writing skills. And you can see it perhaps a little bit better. When your students do different tasks, they can actually see their progress on the writing. And the number of times that they edit it and send it back doesn't matter. They can keep doing it until they feel ready, happy with the answer.
So it's a good tool to use outside the classroom as a homework tool, again, to reinforce what they can do when they write. And
it's amazing because students are getting immediate feedback and not having to wait for you to correct it, it's motivating, and of course it's encouraging because you can see how you're progressing as well. So we'd like to invite you to use that if you haven't already used it, and it's free. Now, we don't really have any time for questions, but we did want to say that if you would like to speak to us, we're going to be here all day, and we will be here in the break, and of course we'd be delighted to hear about your experience of teaching writing too.
Yep, so thank you very much.
Thank you very much.